It's time I come clean. I have an addiction to reading Wikipedia. It's so bad that in middle school I had two teachers give me the nicknames Wikipedia and Encyclopedia. It does come with perks though. With my years of reading Wikipedia, I found some interesting and obscure pieces of lost media. Thank you for watching, and let's begin. Richard McNair is an American convicted murderer who's best known for breaking out of prison 3 times. After breaking out of prison for his 3rd time by disguising himself in a pile of mailbags, McNair went on the run. There's a pretty crazy video where he gets stopped by a police officer just hours after escaping, but he manages to talk his way out of it.
What is, we got an escapee.
Oh. Where from?
Prison.
There's a prison here?
Yeah.
I promise you I'm not no damn prison escapee.
You'd have done run by now. You know that yourself. You'd have done run by now.
No.
He eventually crossed into Canada from the Canadian-Washington border. While there, he would get money and supplies by robbing car dealerships. Since he'd worked at dealerships before, he had inside knowledge of where they kept money and the keys for the vehicles and the security systems that dealerships had. During a rare interview he granted with journalist Byron Christopher, he relayed a bizarre incident that happened while he was on the run. McNair was staying at a motel in British Columbia. When he returned to the motel after buying something, he found it surrounded by a SWAT team. He decided to turn around and leave, assuming that the team was there for him. When he turned on a local AM radio station, however, he found out that there was actually a hostage situation going on completely unrelated to him. So he grabbed a camcorder that he had recently purchased and took a 20-minute recording of the situation. This camera, and presumably the footage, were apparently seized by the Canadian police. McNair stated that the officers were probably extremely confused watching the video. I did find a news article supporting this event. On April 29, 2007, a SWAT team was dispatched to a Comfort Inn for a hostage situation. This situation took place in the same town that McNair claimed to have filmed the video in. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the Canadian authorities ever acknowledged the existence of the film, much less made plans to release it. McNair was recaptured for the final time on October 24, 2007. According to Byron, McNair may be released eventually if the parole board allows him to be. Alien Love Triangle is a 1999 short film. It was directed by Danny Boyle of Trainspotting and 28 Days Later, and featured performances by Courtney Cox, Kenneth Branagh, and Heather Graham. The film was planned to be shown alongside 2 other short films, all with a science fiction theme. The other 2 short films, Mimic and Imposter, ended up being turned into full-length films, however, so this plan was cancelled. Alien Love Triangle ended up languishing away in a vault for years. At one point, the director described it as really very strange. 9 years after it was made, film critic Mark Kermode was planning a special send-off for the closing of La Charrette, the smallest theater in the United Kingdom. Mark just so happened to be a lost media enthusiast, and he knew about Alien Love Triangle. He had tried unsuccessfully on 2 previous occasions to get it released, but when he tried on the basis of giving La Charrette a nice send-off, they agreed to it. So the film was shown publicly, and Branagh even attended the world premiere. As far as I could find, the only other showing was at a Branagh event shortly after the world premiere. As for the film's plot, the movie would have had Branagh play a doctor who finds out that his wife, played by Courtney Cox, is actually a male alien in disguise. Heather Graham played another alien who has to take Courtney's character back to their home planet. The director said that the core of the film was about the British and what they will do to protect the apparently perfect family ideal. According to an interview with the director, one reason the movie hasn't been released yet is the length. It's too short to be given a full release, and it's too long to be played before another movie. They tried to get it released once as a charity DVD, but those plans fell through. Joe Pyne was a controversial talk show host in the 1950s and 1960s, known for shocking incidents occurring on his show. In 1955, Pyne had to have his leg replaced by a wooden prosthetic as he lost the leg to cancer. In one episode, author Paul Krasner was a guest on the show. Joe began to make fun of Paul's acne scars, and there are a couple different accounts of what happened next. Paul either countered by asking if his wooden leg led to any marital problems with his wife, or asked if he took his leg off when he got home to see his wife. I think the second account may be more accurate, since the source for it includes a direct quote. Either way, Joe was visibly shocked by this and didn't know how to respond. He was described as catatonic. Even worse, Joe's audience began to shout out that Paul's statement wasn't fair, which is a really bad look if you and your audience thrive on shock humor. Musician Phil Ochs, who was in the crowd, is said to have remarked, "What Paul Krasner has just done is in the finest tradition of American journalism." Paul claims that a producer told him that Joe had final say over what went on the air, and he chose to edit Paul's segment out. Joe, Phil, and Paul have all passed away, so it seems unlikely that the tape will be released. You've probably seen the famous Patterson-Gimlin tape before, an alleged video of a Bigfoot taken in 1967. But you might not know the story behind why the two men filming it, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, were there in the first place. They had gone into the woods initially to shoot some video of the wilderness for a Bigfoot docudrama they were making. It was going to be based on the Ape Canyon incident, where a group of Sasquatches allegedly attacked a cabin. Then while they were out there filming the wilderness, they shot the famous video. But there are two tapes from the incident that are missing. The first is the original tape that the PGF was filmed on. While there are copies of it, the original's location is unknown. Now, why is this important if we already have copies? Since the video was shot on film, with modern technology we could rescan the film itself and make a copy at possibly 4K or even 8K resolution, provided the tape isn't damaged. After years of analysis and debate over whether or not you can see muscles, zippers, and other details in the film, we'd be able to have a much clearer look at it and possibly even end the debates. There are a few theories and leads as to where the tape is. Patterson originally gave the tape to a company, which went bankrupt. Then another company bought that company. Then another company bought that company and also went bankrupt. The final company, Century Group, held an auction to pay off their debts, but the film was nowhere to be found at the auction. Bigfoot buff Chris Murphy thought that a Florida-based lawyer had it, but the film wasn't where the lawyer's record said it was. The final time the film was viewed was apparently by Bigfoot researchers Renee DeHinden and Bruce Bonney in 1980. Sometime between 1980 and 1996, the film went missing from the vault it was in. The second tape contains footage of Patterson and Gimlin making plaster casts of the prints left by the Sasquatch seen in the video. It was only ever believed to have been shown publicly once in 1967. Al Diatley, a local businessman who was involved with Patterson, was believed to have the tape, though he passed away in 2019. There was also a copy of part of the film reel as well that Chris Murphy took some still images from, though this has also gone missing. It seems like, for now at least, the leads as to where the original tapes are have dried up. The Deer Hunter is a critically acclaimed 1978 film about the Vietnamese War. It features a star-studded cast including Robert De Niro, Meryl Streep, John Cazale, and Christopher Walken. There's a pivotal scene in the film where American soldiers are captured and forced to play Russian roulette by their Viet Cong captors. This scene received some backlash when critics pointed out that there was no record of this actually happening during the Vietnam War. The director of the film, Michael Cimino, stated that the film didn't claim to be based on a true story, so the scene wasn't supposed to be viewed as having actually happened. Despite this, he also claimed that he had news clippings from a paper in Singapore that stated that Russian roulette was used by the Vietnamese. Whether or not this is true is unknown, since Cimino never publicly shared these clippings. Cimino also received controversy over whether or not he exaggerated his service in the army. He did state that the story of the movie was autobiographical, though not that everything in the movie actually happened. The Deer Hunter actually started out as a movie about guys going to Las Vegas to play Russian roulette, before it was changed to being about the Vietnam War. According to the film's producer Michael Dealey, Cimino had to be convinced to keep the Russian roulette scenes in the film, further complicating the story. Cimino passed away in 2016, making it more difficult for the articles to be found. In 1974, a movie began filming under the title Jackpot. Terrence Young, best known for the first 3 James Bond films, was going to direct it. He had just finished making the film The Klansman, which had a difficult production period. Jackpot was about an actor who becomes wheelchair-bound. Or it was about a down-on-his-luck Oscar-winning actor who suddenly wins another Oscar. Or it was about an actor who fakes an illness to collect insurance money. For some reason, there were multiple given plots for the film. Maybe the story was a combination of all of them. Anyway, Jackpot ended up not being able to finish filming. The given reasons were a lack of funds and backstage drama. The star of Jackpot, Richard Burton, was also in The Klansman. During their time filming that movie, Richard was hospitalized for 6 weeks with a serious case of bronchitis and influenza. He was also extremely intoxicated for much of the film. He had to shoot some scenes sitting down because he couldn't stand. To top it all off, he got divorced from his wife shortly after filming ended. Although there are no direct reports as to what happened behind the scenes on Jackpot, based on what happened during their previous film, it's not hard to see why this movie was never completed. To Richard's credit, Terrence stated that he was a nice person and that they got along very well. In one interview almost a decade after the movie's cancellation, the director stated that the film could have been completed if he had the 3 main actors together for just 1 more week. This suggests that the movie was close to being complete and probably could be worked into a mostly watchable state. Regardless, the parts of the movie that were actually filmed have remained locked in a Paramount vault somewhere, if they even still exist. If you have any information on any of these pieces of lost media, please share them with me. This video was brought to you by Of Books and Beasts by Matt Billy. It's a book that contains hundreds of reviews and analysis of various books and works in the world of cryptozoology. It also has a very detailed section on Bigfoot and other cryptid apes. If you're looking to expand your cryptozoology knowledge, check it out, link below. I'd also like to give a shout out to my patrons Timothy and the YouTube channel Wild World. My other Lost Media videos, including a series on cryptid Lost Media, will be linked below. If you liked this video, also check out the Lost Media YouTube channel Kylie. I'd appreciate you sharing this video with someone you think may also enjoy it, and liking and subscribing. If you'd like to support my channel, my Patreon and other social media accounts will be linked below. That's all for this video, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.